So today we're going to talk about a couple of those little hidden features that are built into Mac Big Sur. Let's go. All right, welcome back to my channel, and if you guys can definitely check out my backlog, I have over 300 videos devoted to Apple stuff, so check that out. What I wanted to do today is a little bit different. So if you're one of the people that kind of was procrastinating and waiting, you haven't loaded Big Sur yet, or even if you have, you just haven't fooled around with it that much, I have a couple tips today I'm going to go through, maybe 5, 6, somewhere in that range. Just want to show you some good tips built into the macOS Big Sur that are going to be things that most power users are going to know about, but a lot of people may not. They're just little hidden tricks where you can do something, and you might say, like I didn't know that. That's kind of what this video is all about. So I'm just going to show you some simple ones, 5 or 6. And, like if you're like me that likes to procrastinate, I have a couple different Macs, and a couple of them I'm not going to upload the OS, even though I know it's good for security. But obviously, with my channel, I like to have not only different versions of all the different OSs as well. So I kind of have an excuse there, but if you don't have an excuse and you want to upgrade and you want to go ahead and do that, watch the video. You might learn a couple of things about the changes in Big Sur. Hopefully I can help a little bit with that. And again, like I said, I do a lot of videos on all this kind of stuff. I just got an M1 Mac, and I'm going to be doing some more videos on that. At the end of the day, though, you guys know my saying, sit back, relax, and we'll get into it. So without further ado, let's go. All right, tip number 1 is going to be about Control Center. There's a new icon up here, and this is the Control Center icon. If you click on it, obviously you'll see it up here. It's going to bring up a control center of a bunch of different things you can do on your computer, including like Wi-Fi settings, do not disturb, display brightness, keyboard brightness. So one thing you can do with this is before you actually go and click on that, you can go over to your Apple icon, System Preferences, and go to Dock and Menu. And if you do that, you'll notice that over here it says Control Center on the left-hand side. So here's everything that's in your control center. If you look at this, and if you click on them, it's going to have some different options, but basically you can go down the list, and this is going to be what's in the control center as long as it's underneath control center here. But if you keep scrolling down, it's going to say other modules. For instance, it says battery, for instance. You can click on the battery, and then if you look over here, it says show in control center. So if I click on that, that'll be added to my control center. So you can add things to the control center. I just wanted to show you, and you can modify what's in there. So it's over here on the left-hand side. This is what's in the control center, and then you can add all these other things down here into the control center as well. I just added the battery. So if I click out of this and I go back to control center and click on it, you'll notice that the battery now is down here, 98%. You see that was added. So that's one tip number 1. All right, tip number 2 and tip number 3, we'll do 2 first, is going to be about the same thing, control center up here. So let's go ahead and click on it again. One thing a lot of people don't know about is, see how let's just pick keyboard brightness. See it right there? If you take this and you click on it and then you drag it up to your menu bar up here, see it up here? You can let go of it. It'll actually be added up there so that now you don't have to click on your control center. You can go ahead and click on just this little icon, and your keyboard brightness will be always up here. One thing, you can do this through the preferences again. You can add it that way as well, like I showed you before. But one thing, a lot of people are like, how do I get rid of this? If you try to drag it off, it doesn't work. If you try to right click on it, it doesn't work. People get frustrated. I've heard this all the time. The crazy thing is to get that icon back off of there, what I do is I click on Control Center again. I click on keyboard brightness, which is the icon that's up in the menu bar, and I just drag it down here, and it goes away up here. Don't ask me why, but that's a good way of getting rid of it up here, because it's kind of it gets you upset if you can't figure it out in a while, and I figured that one out myself. All right, and then the last one again about control center, and then we'll do a couple other tips after this, is if you click on this, one thing a lot of people don't know again is you can slide these things and everything like you want. For example, display. If you want the display brightness to move, you can go ahead and slide this. That's something very easy to do. But if you don't slide it, you just click on the actual, where it says display, it'll actually open up a different menu for you. See that? So it opens up in dark mode, night shift, true tone. You can turn all that stuff off. So then if you go ahead and do the same thing with like sound or something, click on sound, it's going to give you different preferences, like sound preferences. So if you click on it versus dragging, it does something different there. So just keep that in mind. That's another tip there for you. All right, tip number 4 is fairly straightforward. It's something that's hard to see, but take a look, see if you can see this. It's easier to see if your screen's really bright, but if you go to the Apple icon up here and then you go to System Preferences in Big Sur, if you go to the General button here, the General button tab, I guess you call it, whatever, if you inside of here, there's a bunch of things you can adjust. One of them here says Allow Wallpaper Tinting in Windows. So it's no one knows what that really means by actually just reading that. But if you go ahead and look at it, and it's very faint, but look at the background of this here. If you click on it, it brightens it up a little bit so it's darker, brighter. So it actually tints the windows slightly. I'm not sure why it does that. So if you uncheck that, you get more of a clean screen. It's like, the colors pop a little bit more versus having that on, and it's on by default. So I always turn that off right away, and then I shut it down, and it seems like the screen just seems brighter to me. So I don't know. That's just a tip I picked up. All right, tip number 5, and I'm going to do 7 tips total just to let you know. So I know I changed it, but so tip number 5, it's going to be a very simple one. If you go to the Apple icon and you go to System Preferences, one thing that Apple actually did with this new Big Sur and the new M1s, click on Sound, play sound on startup. Before they got rid of that, I don't know if you noticed that, but in the prior versions, like the last couple of years, they didn't have the startup sound, like that's the sound that Apple makes. You can turn it off or on right here. There's a little icon here, so it's under sound. A lot of people don't realize it's in there, so it's just a little tip that's been added there. So if you want that old kind of sound from way back in the day, you can have it. If it annoys you, you can turn it off right here. All right, so for this tip, it's going to be more about Safari, but it was kind of built into Big Sur in the Safari release. So if you go down and you launch Safari, you're going to notice this new screen that came up. It's a lot different. It shows some of your recents and things like that, weather.com, ESPN, or wherever you like to go. It's got a bunch of other stuff. But a lot of people don't like all this clutter here, and they don't know what to do with it. They basically just search up here, or they go to a home page. Not a big deal, but if you go down to the very bottom right-hand corner, there's like this little slider icons. If you click that, look what happens. It lets you turn off all this stuff, and you can also, you can turn off favorites, turn on, anything that you want that's in here. You can just remove it if you want to. That's very straightforward. And then if you click here, you can actually go ahead and give the background of this page a different color or a different background as well, so it's not always looking at that same boring page. So I'm going to leave it like that. So just a little tip there that you can go ahead and change this up. It's pretty easy. Just go to the lower right-hand corner and click on the icon down here. All right, and the 7th tip, I guess it'll be 7.5 too. If you go ahead and you swipe, let's say you're on a MacBook and you swipe to bring in here your widgets. So if you go kind of over here and you can swipe with 2 fingers, your widgets should come in just like that. You can go ahead and rearrange these. So basically, one thing everyone should know about is you can just click on something, drag it, and drop it somewhere else if you want to rearrange those. Those are pretty easy. Also at the very bottom, there's an edit widgets, but you can also just go ahead and right click. If you have the right click enabled, definitely enable that. You have to do that through the preferences. You can change the size of each one. Like if I want weather to be bigger, now it'll show all the days instead of just the temperature. And then you can add a widget up here to fill it out, or you can go ahead and just make this medium as well. So you can go ahead and just right click, change the size, and when you do the different changes in size, it adds more features. Like obviously it added the calendar, it added the different days. So definitely fool around with that. Obviously, again, at the very bottom, there's the edit widgets, and you can go ahead and add and edit them that way as well. And then you can just swipe to kind of get rid of them. So just another little tip that maybe some people may not know about. All right, thanks for watching, and what do you think? Let me know in the comments if these are things that you knew about or you didn't know about, because I'm always curious. A lot of people, when I actually wasn't doing, different videos like this, I would use my computer, my Mac computer and stuff, but I wouldn't really kind of dabble beyond just the simple things that I always picked up. So, I knew how to do something, but I never really knew shortcuts, or I didn't know different ways of doing it. So I never really cared that much, actually. But then I started getting into some of those things, and it really did help me with time, and I didn't even know some features were available at the end of the day. So hopefully this helps people. Let me know what you think in the comments again. Let me know if you guys have other very specific tricks. I'm going to make a couple of these videos probably. When I can find something that's very unique and people don't know much about it, I'll definitely make a video on that. So if you guys know of stuff, post them for me. And just keep watching, supporting the channel if you can. I make hundreds of videos, just trying to grow the channel. I think I'm getting between 5,000 and 6,000 subscribers now. Hopefully that's going to grow for me. So anyways, I hope everyone had enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys probably in 2 or 3 days. Talk to you soon. Peace.